My shoes were tested by the police lab, and it was tested by the state's lab. There was no blood, no hair, no skin from the doctor. My hands did not have any bruise marks on them. But the prosecutor's star witness, David Wilson, he had the doctor's hair all over him, and he was wearing the doctor's hat.
All right, I'm back with Lawrence Simmons, his attorneys John Saykanic and Miles Feinstein, and prosecutor Stephen Brzezik. Let me ask Miles, finally getting that microphone fixed, about, the dilemma of trying to remedy this for your client, because you've still got a conviction on the books for the Marshall mugging. There is no finding of innocent, so to speak, by a court, or finding of not guilty. It's simply, we're not going to let the DA try this again. How do you move forward?
First of all, Mr. Simmons is presumed and assumed to be innocent. He maintained his innocence over all of this time. A dismissal means that the charge has been dismissed, and he has that presumption with him, and he's innocent. The state does not prove innocence, nor does the defendant have to in any way prove innocence. The state must prove, in fact, that they've met their burden as to each and every element of the charge beyond a reasonable doubt.
Well, that's just a conviction. I'm talking about a civil action now where you're trying to remedy this for your client, where you're actually trying to go back to law enforcement or the prosecutor's office and said, you've done wrong.
The difference is Mr. Brzezik has been talking about the Marshall mugging. We're talking about the doctor-doctor case. This came about through Mr. Wilson and through the authorities using Mr. Wilson as a witness. All of the physical evidence that we developed after the first trial in 1996 pointed to Mr. Wilson, and that was withheld at that particular time. We came to know about it years later. The remedy is there for Mr. Simmons. He spent years in jail for a murder charge which has been dismissed. We're presently looking into it. As Mr. Saykanic has said, Mr. Pickett, a very distinguished lawyer and radio commentator, is very interested in the case. And of course, all the facts will be brought out at any civil proceeding if in fact there is one. There are pluses and minuses in every case, but in this particular case, we feel that in fact the facts are with Mr. Simmons, and he wrongfully spent years in jail for a crime that he maintained his innocence of and he did not in fact commit.
Well, certainly, Lawrence, the fact that you wouldn't plea all along is one of those that makes people wonder, gee, there comes a time when I'd probably say, I did it, just open the door and let me out.
Well,
how'd you keep the faith that in fact someone would listen and keep listening long enough to do something about this?
Because I knew that I was innocent, and I knew that the state knew that I was innocent. The prosecutor who prosecuted this case back in 1977 and the two detectives that was involved, they knew that I was innocent. It was election time. They wanted to convict somebody. They wanted to close this case. And being that I had a juvenile record and my brother was murdered back in 1974, and they arrested me and charged me and said that I was with him, and I stayed in the Saykanic jail from 1974 to 1977 for 3 years.
And in fact, they found an off-duty police officer who had murdered your brother, is that correct?
Yeah, he was an off-duty detective, shot and killed my brother. And my lawyer appealed it to the United States Supreme Court, and the United States Supreme Court threw the case out, stating that they could not charge me. And in one of the affidavits that the prosecutor's star witness, David Wilson, stated that the detectives told him at that time, Mr. Simmons got away with murder. We need you to help us convict him on this here. Just give us a statement, say he was there with you, and we'll let you walk free. And this is what he did.
How do you get 23 years back?
You don't. I miss being with a lot of family members who passed away. I miss being with my son, you know, who grew up. I have a grandson that I haven't seen. I'm still, you know, waiting to see him. I've been around, but he was asleep, so I'm going to go back to see him. It's just, there's no amount of money that these people can give me that would make me happy or, you know, give me back the years that they took from me. I can never get that back.
So what is justice?
Can I point something out?
Just a second, please. So what is justice in this case, Lawrence?
I wish that these people who wrongfully put me in prison for 23 years could be in them same cells that I was and face the same thing that I faced. I've seen people, while I was eating, be murdered right before my eyes, and it took me days to get over that. I've seen people get smashed in the head in the yard with weights, and their brains came out of their head, and they put it back, you know, on the cart when they wheeled them in. They vegetables. I've been through a lot, you know, and I know that a lot of people, you know, are looking for me to fail. A lot of people are saying, you know, well, he's guilty. There are a lot of people that believe me and know that I'm innocent, but I'm not going to worry about what the people say or think. God knows that I'm innocent, and he's been with me through this here whole time, and I thank him for blessing me with John and Miles, because they did a wonderful job. They stuck by me and they believed in me and they helped me. They did a wonderful job. They worked hard. And you ain't gonna find too many people like him and Miles that will work for you and believe in you. He worked hard. And I thank him, you know, from the bottom of my heart, you know, and I just thank my family for being there and supporting me, and friends. It's been hard. You can't just go into a situation where there's people in there with all different types of personalities, and people will kill you. They will stab you, you know, just for just looking at them or bumping into them.
What was the first thing you wanted to do when you got out?
Just be with my family and eat some decent food, you know, because I was starving in that place, especially in the Passaic County Jail. The last 5 years, I was in isolation in a little, you know, cell for 5 years. I stayed there. And there were a few officers who would walk by and say, I don't know how you do it. You know, if it was me, I would have killed myself a long time, but I could never harm myself. I know that I was innocent, and I just wanted to fight. And the more that they held me in there, the stronger it made me and just gave me the will to fight, you know, because I knew that I was innocent. And I knew that one day I would, you know, be free, and I would be with my family.
Well, certainly there'll be a lot to read about this case. There will be people going over now in the news the evidence reflecting on this. But you remember the old story about the politician who says, "Where do I go to get my name back?" That's got to be the toughest part at this stage. Lawrence Simmons, thank you very much for your time. John Vincent Saykanic, Miles Feinstein, Stephen Brizik, thank you all very much.
Thank you for having me.
Now, coming up next, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.